Hello guys, welcome to the Baywatch podcast, where I try to watch every episode of the hit 80s/90s show, Baywatch. Let's get started. Forever and always, I'm asking. Okay guys, before we get started in this kooky episode, I just want to apologize immensely. I've had a lot of health problems lately. I had some problems with my thyroid, and so some health problems. And every time, say the temperature is a certain thing throughout the week, or it rains for a long period of time, and then the weather abruptly changes, I get sick. That's the kind of person I am. I can't help it. So, I haven't posted an episode in a long time, and I apologize for those few people who are listening. I am fully committed to this podcast, and anyone who has a podcast knows that life gets in the way sometimes, and you can't help it. But I finally am back up to par. Thyroid levels are down. Everything is going good. I want to wish a belated happy 4th of July to everybody, and I want to extend a happy Pride again. So since I have not posted an episode in a long time, I'm going to be covering 2 episodes that I just watched. Instead of just one, I'm going to cover 2 in one episode, and then I promise I'm going to start to try to post more episodes as much as I can. And the word there that you should focus on is try. I promise that I'm going to try to do my best to get this done. I'm going to be binge watching some Baywatch for the rest of the week, I can tell you that much. So, like I said, I'm going to do 2 episodes in one, and that would be, Rookie School and Cruise Ship. 2 episodes that are just typical Baywatch. Just typical Baywatch that we have come to respect and love so far. So, I'm sorry that I've been away so long. So let's dive into the craziness that was these 2 Baywatch episodes. Okay guys, this is Season 1, Episode 7 and Episode 8. We're going to start with Rookie School, air date November 10th, 1989. And if you are gay out there like me, and you ever wanted to watch an episode that had a bunch of guys in Speedos, this is the episode for you. We start off with a girl named Amy, played by Christine Elise. You may know that name from such films as Child's Play 2, the 90s remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, as well as she played the cute but crazy Emily Valentine on Beverly Hills 90210, as well as she had a recurring role as John Carter's, the doctor on ER's love interest on ER. So she got started in a lot of different things in the late 80s and early 90s, and she is a fantastic actress. Don't know whatever happened to her, but she is fantastic. She plays Amy, a girl who is dating a man that is in the mafia, and she's witnessed a couple of hits he's done, and she's decided, finally I guess, I don't know how long they've been together, to run away from him. He is played by William Fletcher. The guy who is currently playing Adam, Allison Janney's love interest on the sitcom Mom. And I can honestly tell you that he has not aged a bit. He looks the same in this episode that he does in his episodes of Mom, where he plays the wheelchair-bound Adam. And it's very interesting to see people in things before they were stars and recognize people that you know from several things in hit shows. Well, hit shows that wasn't hit shows before. Because at this point in the show, Baywatch was not a hit yet. Can't imagine why. So, Amy runs away from her boyfriend's henchman, Vincent. And her boyfriend's name is Howard. What a intimidating mobster name. So, Vincent decides to get into his car and chase after Amy in her car and start shooting at her on the freeway. I mean, well, not the freeway, on the road. And you gotta understand, this is the time when there were no cell phones. Well, actually there was cell phones in people's cars, as example in the pilot movie. But apparently no one has a cell phone in their car in the scene because no one is able to call 911 and say that someone's shooting at someone else's car. Meanwhile, during this chase scene, we cut to headquarters where they are having rookie school, which I have tried to understand. I think this is supposed to be how they become lifeguards. And according to Allison from Movie Nights, we never see these people again. Not one single person. And not only that, I don't know how they're becoming lifeguards because honestly, they're doing push-ups, they're doing laps, they have to go out to a buoy, tag it, and then swim back. How does that have to do with being a lifeguard? I don't really know. But, hey, guys in black Speedos. So it turns out that Trevor, who's actually in this episode for more than like a second, has to be certified to be a lifeguard at the country club that he works at, which makes me wonder why he hasn't been certified up until now. And Mitch let it slip to Trevor's boss that he wasn't certified, so Trevor has to do rookie school as well. It turns out that Mitch's old coach that helped him through rookie school is helping a guy named Todd, who is really buff. And Trevor, for some odd reason other than the script tells him to, decides that this guy will be his competition. And he makes it his personal mission to beat this guy. Meanwhile, from there, we cut to Death Glare, aka Craig and Gina, who are leaving on a weekend trip to make a baby, and are leaving Eddie alone in their house. Gina is going through the various chores Eddie will have to do while he's gone, even going as far as saying, "Feed the dog." And then he's like, "We don't have a dog," and then she sprays him with a water bottle. I don't get it. So they go off to make some babies, and Eddie goes to watch the rookies because he's already a lifeguard. So I guess he doesn't have to do it. He has to help them with their training. Okay. So, back to the car chase, because you know how Melrose plays, I'm sorry, Baywatch. You know how Baywatch is just really good at pacing things, you know? we needed to just pause that action scene to cut to the other plots that coincide with this. Oh wait, they don't. So, Amy is able to stop her car and get out, and she takes her skirt off with the belt, and there happens to be a bathing suit under it. The bathing suit is gray, and when she goes into the water and comes out, and everybody thinks she's a rookie, the bathing suit has miraculously turned black and looks the same exact way that the other rookie girls, which there's only 3 of them aside from her, same bathing suit. So that must have been a magic bathing suit, people. I'm serious. It changed color and style and everything while she was in that water. So, of course, as soon as she comes out of the water, Eddie falls in love with her and decides to make it his personal mission to help her. He tells her she could rest up at headquarters, and while there, Trevor tries to hit on her by saying, "You know, every rookie needs a partner. What do you say, you little Sheba? Want to be my partner?" And Amy goes, "No, I already have a partner, Eddie." And Eddie goes, "Yeah, she doesn't want someone with a silly accent." Wah, 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 wah. Really, Eddie? I really don't know at what point he started making fun of Trevor, but that was a low blow. And as you can tell, I still can't do an Australian accent. I'm sorry. Anyway, Eddie goes as far as just meeting this girl and deciding to allow her to stay at Craig and Gina's house in their room. And Eddie clearly wants to have sex with this girl, but she's not so willing to go that far just yet. And she has to pretend to be a rookie, ordinary, to, keep away from her boyfriend, Howard. Meanwhile, Craig and Gina go to a little country inn, and the person who owns it just so happens to be the psychiatrist from the Terminator movies. You know, the one who interviews Kyle Reese and thinks he's completely crazy, and then several years later in 1991, when Sarah Connor has been put into a mental hospital, even though he heard all the things Kyle Reese had said, he still doesn't believe her. Yeah, amazing, isn't it? That guy is a really great character actor. He's been in Mama's Family, The Golden Girls. He's been in all kinds of stuff. He's so funny. Sometimes in the right role. Anyway, Craig and Gina go to their room, and for some odd reason, Gina decides to call her mom and tell her mom what they're planning on doing. And there is nothing like your mother-in-law to basically kill a mood. And Deathglare, aka Craig, is in the bathroom with his robe halfway open, showing his chest, saying, "I'll be a good father, right, Gina?" And then he comes out and finds out that she's talking to her mom, and he's like, "I thought we agreed that we weren't going to tell anybody why we were here. Now there's like all this pressure." And they end up having this wonderful moment where Gina goes, "Oh, you'll be a wonderful father, don't worry," and they hug each other. This moment was brought to you by Aquafresh. I say that because he's holding the toothpaste during that whole scene. Anyway, back at headquarters, Rookie School has commenced and has continued. And Amy is basically like, "Oh, Rookie School, I totally forgot about Rookie School." And it is like, "You forgot, but you're a rookie." And it's like, dude, what are you so excited about? Cue montage! So now we have like a load of dudes in black Speedos basically doing push-ups and jumping in the sand. We have Trevor showing up in his black Speedo with a hat on that looks like it's supposed to be from Australia. He throws the hat down the line and is like, I'm bound and determined to beat Todd, ha ha ha. And there's this montage, and during the montage, Eddie and Amy are hanging out together, and Shawnee is just glaring at them because the writers still have not figured out if they want these two to be a couple, unfortunately. So, Vince comes by and decides the best possible way to kill Amy is just randomly shoot into a crowd of people and hope he hits her. But he ends up hitting some random extra who we never see again. And he basically busts up the montage. But for a few seconds, this is Baywatch's, as far as we know, only sort of semi-homoerotic episode. So you gay men out there, if any of you are listening, this is the episode for us. It was thrilling. So Mitch is inclined to basically call off the whole program after someone gets shot in the leg. And Captain Thorpe, oh god, is all like, why? We don't know who the shooter was, and obviously it's not going to happen again, so why don't we just continue, only we'll continue it further down the beach. Did I mention there's no lifeguarding in this episode? Like, there's literally no saving, except in the last, 5 minutes of the episode, which we'll get there. So, after almost getting shot, Amy goes back to Craig and Gina's house, and Eddie comes into their room, and he's like, are you okay? And she goes, I was going to steal you blind, but then I decided not to. And he goes, what? And she explains it. She got involved with Howard, and she did not know that he was this big-time mobster dude who is, really, really jealous and is very possessive. She took his notebook where he has wrote down all his kills in it. Why would you do that? And apparently she left it at her house, and she asked her sister to send it to headquarters at Baywatch. So as soon as she gets that, she'll have collateral and she'll be able to run away again. Despite knowing all this information, Eddie decides to have sex with her in front of the fireplace. Let's get it on. Yeah, baby. Let's get it on. Meanwhile, at the little country inn, Gina and Craig are trying to get it on too, but there's a couple who are having far more fun than they are. Craig decides to wrap the bedspread around him like a toga, because sure, why not? And goes to their room and knocks on the door and tells them to stop making so much noise. They explain to a stunned Craig, we've had 5 children and this is the first time in over 6 years we've been able to get away by ourselves, sir. So we're so sorry we're making so much noise and we're having so much fun. Craig goes back to the room and reports to Gina what they said and says, 5 children? Couldn't get away in 6 years? Maybe we shouldn't have children. Yeah, because if Craig has sex with you now, you're definitely going to have 5 children, straight away. And isn't the lesson here, oh, we almost made a terrible mistake. Children are such a burden. Are you freaking serious, Baywatch? So meanwhile, we finally get to meet Howard and get to know his henchman, Vince, who is a really, a knockoff of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Obviously, this guy wishes he could be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. Unfortunately, this is his only credit, according to IMDb. Anyway, Howard is all like, I want that bitch dead, and whoever man she's gotten herself involved in, I want him dead too, and I know you can do it. And you know what? This guy is such a great actor. He's been like in everything, who plays Howard. I mean, like I said before, William Fletcher is a phenomenal actor. And he is so funny on Mom right now. So funny on there. And he does come across as a badass in this episode. But not a badass in the good sense. You should never abuse your girlfriend. Or kill people. Anyway, it is the morning after them making love, and they're making coffee and haven't gone into Baywatch yet, when the door just opens and there's Howard and Vince. And it's like, how did they find out where they lived? Why was the door unlocked? I have so many questions, but why overanalyze it? So they end up kidnapping them and having Amy call Baywatch and ask if there was a package that arrived for her, and asks Mitch to basically bring it over to her. Mitch and Goner are on the case and realize and put two and two together because of the shot up car that was Amy's and the person getting shot at the beach is all connected. So they basically use Mitch's bait and they go, but unfortunately Howard is on to them. And he ties Amy up and throws her into the water. Mitch has to save her, and then Goner, for some odd reason, decides to tackle Howard in the ocean as well. And is mad because he had to do it. Why don't you all stop chasing criminals? I'm tired of falling into the ocean. So Amy is going into the witness protection program and will never, ever see her again. Meanwhile, Gina and Craig are about to check out of their hotel room when they notice that the couple from earlier are crying. Well, the woman is. They stop and ask what's wrong, and the woman says, "We just missed our 5-year-old's first steps, and that's a moment that you can't recapture. And we've been there for every single child's first steps, and we just missed it." Craig suddenly has a boner and decides, hey, we're going to check in for another day. But I guess that doesn't last long because they come home right when Amy is about to leave, and they don't even ask who the random girl is. They're just like, the weekend's not over yet, we're gonna go have some more sex. Goodbye. We don't care if you had sex in front of our fireplace or anything, strange random girl. And during the scene where Eddie and Amy are saying goodbye, Eddie is wearing a pug dog shirt with angel wings. I have literally no idea if this kind of shirt was ever in style, but I hope it's not, because it's disturbing that anyone would own a shirt like that. Anyway, that's the end of that episode. Oh, I forgot one important plot point. Trevor ends up beating Todd because Todd is doing steroids. Mitch finds out that his old coach has been giving Todd steroids, and even though Trevor failed to report it to him, Mitch still decides to determine he's a certified lifeguard, because that would never work out that way in real life. He ends up turning his old coach in for supplying the steroids. And during the rookie school run, Todd ends up having a heart attack due to the steroids he took. And if you guys remember, this is a big, huge 80s moment, because a lot of athletes used to take steroids in the late 1980s and early 90s, until Gatorade came out and it was supposed to, save you or something. But whenever you go to the hospital now, they give you, a lot of steroids to, and I don't know if it's, a different kind of steroid. I'm not a doctor. But I just find it fascinating that it was supposed to be such a big deal in this episode. Alright, let's move on to Season 1, Episode 8, Cruise Ship. Cruise Ship has Bryan Cranston in this episode. He plays a guy who owns a boat who people party on. And you may know Bryan Cranston from as the father on Malcolm in the Middle, and later a sailor of drugs on Breaking Bad. So good thing that he moved on from this episode. But if you ever wanted to see an episode where there's the same shot over and over and he's sort of sitting on a boat and you could see his crotch, just a tiny bit, this is the episode for you. But this episode has an important lesson buried deep, deep inside. Shawnee has a new love interest named Andrew, played by Stephen Eckholdit. You guys may know him from Melrose Place, where he played Robert, one of Jane's love interests that Michael and Sydney end up sabotaging. And for all you real 90s fans out there and Friends fans, he played the role of Mark on Friends, that Ross kept thinking that Rachel had a thing for, and at first she didn't. But Ross practically pushed them together with his stupid jealousy, and she dated him for a time. And, yeah, he was what caused them to go on a break. We were on a break. He caused that whole thing. In this episode, he plays an abuser. He abuses Shawnee. So we start the episode with a random bride falling off of Bryan Cranston's boat. And that is the only lifeguarding going on in this episode. Trevor is able to save the day, and I guess because it happened, the bride decides she doesn't want to marry the groom and decided to have a date with Trevor later. We have no idea what her name is, and if anything happens between the two of them. Okie dokie then. For some reason in this episode, Craig makes it his personal mission to watch Bryan Cranston's character like a hawk, because he thinks that he's doing something illegal by being out there with drunken people and them having to save them if they fall off the boat and drowned. Oh my god, you mean, Deathglare, you're doing your job? Saving people is your job? But you don't want to save people because this guy is... Wow, okay. Meanwhile, before this, Craig and Gina decide to have a party. And that's where Eddie and the gang meet Andrew for the first time. Unfortunately, due to the digitally remastered version, for some odd reason, the party scene consists of them not meeting Andrew, but Craig passing around this hors d'oeuvre that Gina has made, and everyone tasting it and saying it tastes like different things, other than what she says it is, which I can't remember what she says it originally. I think she said it was sausage, but Craig says it's not sausage. And Mitch says it tastes like chicken. Eddie said it tastes like a hot dog. And honestly, the rest of the whole party is cut, so I don't know what happens there. But the next day, Shawnee is bugging Eddie, begging him for his opinion on what she thinks of Andrew, who she calls Andy. And he avoids it like the plague, like he's trying not to tell her what he really thinks. And she's just being like one of those nagging people that are like, tell me I could take it, tell me. And they take off their street clothes. Eddie puts on his shorts for lifeguarding. She puts on her lifeguard suit. And for some reason they go into the shower with his shorts on and with her thing on. And they take a shower before they go to work. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would why did they do that? But whatever. So eventually Eddie finally says, fine, you want to know what I think? I'll tell you what I think. I think he's an amoral jerk. I don't think he's good enough for you. That's what I think. And then she goes, well, who asked you? And I'm like, at the same time that he says it, you did? So it turns out that Eddie's right. That night, Shawnee is trying to study for something, and for some reason, Andrew wants to have sex or wants to spend time with her, and she's like, I have to do this. I don't know what she's studying for. That part was unclear to me. But he's trying to kiss her, and she's all like, no, I have to finish doing this. And, like, he knocks her down, and then he knocks down her computer monitor, which breaks it, which completely destroys her computer, because let me explain something to you guys. And like I said before, don't ever think you've ever come from this podcast without learning something. Way back when, in the late 80s and early 90s, computers did not come with a full modem. The modem was on the computer, meaning it was on the monitor. You had a slot for your CD-ROM, a slot for your floppy disk, and you did everything like right there. And then, of course, you had a keyboard. If that monitor fell and broke, then the whole computer was broke, because everything was on the monitor. I know. How in the world did we survive? And if you don't know what a floppy disk is, Google it. Ask your aunt and uncle who grew up in the 90s, because I don't think your grandparents will know. But it was this little flimsy thing that you had to put. You could put all kinds of stuff on there, and now they're completely and utterly useless because there's no way to go through any of them, because there's nothing that reads a floppy disk anymore. Sad but true. So he breaks her computer, literally breaks her computer, and this causes both of them to start laughing, and then they have sex like right there on the floor, after he has basically destroyed her apartment trying to get her. But that's not his evil side just yet, guys. Wait, there's more. So I guess Craig and Trevor are suddenly friends now, because Craig comes by and asks about him saving the bride and congratulates him on being certified as a lifeguard. And he's like, what do you know about that guy? Because I want to shut him down. I'm going to have Mitch go on patrol, and we're going to watch until he does something illegal. So Craig goes to headquarters and tells Mitch his plan, and Mitch is like, I can't go on patrol. I have to be here for this and do my job and stuff. And Craig goes, does anybody care if Mitch goes on patrol? No one says anything. And he's like, see? Meanwhile, Hobie is back. And so is his girlfriend. Melanie, I think her name was. She's apparently being too clingy, and Hobie tries to explain this problem to Mitch, who says, but you have a girlfriend, and you should be happy that you have a girlfriend. I mean, she's great for you, pal. But she shows up to escort him to junior lifeguard school. She's following him around on the beach. He needs some time by himself. And I know you all are just dying and on the edge of your seat wondering how this goes, so I'll just wrap it up for you. Basically, he breaks up with her, realizes he's made a mistake, and decides to take her back, but it's too late. She's hanging out with the kid from RoboCop 2. Apparently, a lot of people pointed that out. I don't really know what he's played on, but he's in sunglasses. I can't see his face. And I can't find him on IMDb. I think he's uncredited. Because I don't think his character even has a name. But anyway, we never see Melanie again. And that was the end of Hobie's girlfriend for a while, I guess. Meanwhile, Shawnee agonizes all day over Andy calling her after their fight the previous night, which I would classify it started as a fight, but then they made up on the floor full of broken glass and a turned over table and so many other things, but okay. But he doesn't call. She then makes plans with Jill to do something, and he expects her to drop everything and hang out with him. He basically tells her that that's what he expects her to do. And she tells him no, that she's not going to cancel her plans with Jill just do something with him just because he says so. And he slaps her across the face, thus proving Eddie right. Now she has a nasty bruise on her face, Shawnee decides not to come into work. So Eddie makes it his personal mission to go to her apartment and tell her that he is sorry for the remark he made about Andrew. He tells her that he got her mail and waits for her to open the door and sees that she has a bruise. He basically tells her he was right and that she should leave him. She makes the usual domestic violence excuse. He didn't mean it. He's under a lot of pressure because he's trying to study to be a lawyer. All that. And as if on cue, here comes Matthew. I'm sorry, no. Here comes Andrew. And he's all like, I'm so sorry. I've just been driving all morning. The headlights had your face in them. The horns spoke your name. And I'm like, wow, this must have been a poem that somebody had submitted in, school at some point, and it got an F. Because this dialogue is absolutely terrible. And it works. So Eddie calls her, well, no, that doesn't happen. Eddie tells her that she's sad and twisted and leaves. The next time they have a fight, though, she calls Eddie, and he stays there all night, and he comes again and apologizes, and then Eddie calls her a dumb blonde bimbo for wanting to be with this guy who is not worth her time. And this is the couple later in the season we're supposed to be rooting for, people. Meanwhile, Mitch and Craig basically follow Bryan Cranston around all day long. He basically tells them there's nothing you people can do to me, so you can follow me all you want. Eventually, what happens with this stupid plot is that the boat catches on fire. Mitch and Craig have to save a bunch of people, including Bryan Cranston, and he realizes that he's got to be a little bit more responsible at the end. Meanwhile, Eddie comes back or has stayed the night again after Shawnee has gotten beat up by Andrew again, and he comes by to apologize, and finally Shawnee says, you know what, Andrew, it's always going to be something. It's always going to be you're stressed out because you haven't passed the bar, or you're stressed out because of this reason or that reason. You're always going to have an excuse, and I'm always going to let you get by with it, so I'm just going to end it right here. And he basically tells her that she'll never find a guy like him, she's so pathetic, this, that, and the other. Eddie does not come into the room and intervene and stand up for her or anything. He did apologize earlier for calling her a dumb blonde bimbo, but too little too late in my opinion. Basically, Andrew just goes off on her and then leaves the room. Eddie and him stare each other down, and he leaves. Shawnee is clearly crying, as you can hear from the hall. Eddie decides just to leave her there crying. I kid you not, people. He literally looks at the door, walks away, and is like, just leaves her there crying. What a jackass. Meanwhile, he goes to Craig for love advice, saying that he doesn't understand why Shawnee wants to be with a guy like Andrew who's always hitting her. And Craig points out the obvious, I guess. You love her. You care about her. But do yourself a favor and don't get involved, because in the end you'll just hurt yourself. So the next day, Eddie decides to take the complete opposite advice of Deathglare, as he should, because he wasn't right. He goes up to Shawnee in her lifeguard tower and tells her he's sorry. And she said she broke it off with Andrew and she's not going to see him anymore, and she mostly thought of Eddie and how he stood up for her, and that, in a way, he was right. She shouldn't have been in a relationship like that, and she really doesn't know why she was. And of course, this is a heartfelt scene. But guess what Eddie's wearing? The pug dog shirt with the angel wings. What the hell, people? But anyway, she tells him that she thinks he's kind of cute, so maybe they're on the road of being a couple finally. Because, you know, a guy who calls you a dumb blonde bimbo is definitely a keeper, and a guy who just walks away while you're crying after another guy has basically yelled at you and made you feel like crap, yeah, you should definitely be a couple, guys, because so far you seem to be made for each other. And that's the end of the episode, guys. That's Rookie School and Cruise Ship. Rookie School tries to deal with the dangers of steroids, while Cruise Ship decides to do an episode about domestic violence in Bryan Cranston's crotch on a cruise ship. Okie dokie then. And no, not even at this point was this show popular yet. I mean, in fact, there was literally no montages in Cruise Ship. And there was like no lifeguard saving other than the bride falling overboard at the beginning of the episode. So yeah, okie dokie then. Don't know what they were trying to go for here. But anyway, guys, I'm going to try to watch as many episodes for the rest of the week as I possibly can and post more episodes. Because I want to get through season 1. Because it's supposed to get better, I hope. So bear with me if you're a fan of the podcast. Thank you for listening. Comment below of what episodes you've been watching, because it would not be wise to try to follow me with these episodes, because this is the first episode I posted in a long time, and I hope that I can get into some routine soon. But thank you guys for bearing with me. I hope everybody has a great rest of the week, And I know this weekend is Oldham County Day where I live, and I will be going to a parade, which I'm so excited about. So hope everybody has a great day, a great night, and has been having a great month. And that's it. And remember, forever and always, I'm always here.